Okay, today I'm with Daniel Fiott from the Madariaga-College of Europe Foundation. Today we're going to discuss a little bit about the about yesterday's UNGA dialogue, but before we do that, Daniel, tell us a bit about the organization you work for.
Well, we're a Brussels-based think tank.
Okay.
We have three main program areas. The first one being citizenship, trying to engage European citizens. The second one being about economic governance, empowering Europe. We also look in this program issues to do with EU-China relations.
Right.
And then finally in the program I manage is on the prevention of conflict.
Okay. Yeah. Now what's your capacity with that program?
Oh well, within the program area, I mainly focus on organising events and writing up research papers.
Okay.
The research papers are quite varied in their scope.
Yeah.
As an example, recently I published a paper on EU-China relations with regard to a particular case study of Kenya.
Okay.
And that basically looked at the different development aid policies that both countries have. So it's quite a varied project, but we generally take our lead from the EU's own emphasis on conflict prevention. We try to give a different perspective to these policies and try to see if we can add something new to the dialogue.
Right. Okay. Well, speaking of the dialogue, yesterday you were able to attend the United Nations General Assembly dialogue on R2P and the role of regional and sub-regional organizations. Can you give our viewers your thoughts on the dialogue?
Well, the first thing to be said, I think, is that from the European perspective, it was quite encouraging and impressive to see so many European speakers, both EU members, EU member states, and non-EU member states. So, of course, we had states like Liechtenstein and Armenia speak, but then we had some of the more traditional member states, Germany, France, and the UK, talk on R2P. More significantly, from our perspective, is the fact that the European Union also made its own statement on the debate. I thought, as a general impression, I thought that the European take now on R2P is quite an interesting development, in the sense that they've moved away from norm building to much more of how we get this done in an operational sense. What this means now, maybe in the next 5 years, what this means in terms of getting Europe's capacities, institutional capacities, both at the EU level and at the member state level, together to be able to operationalise R2P.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of work there, but
right. So, in your opinion, would operationalization be the next step moving forward within the EU framework for R2P?
Well, I think that that's an important step. I mean, in general terms, in the European Union, we need anyway to have some form of rationalisation of the tools we have. I think what will be important, and this is particularly so now with the new European External Action Service, is actually to try and see how we get policy areas linked together with an R2P lens. We can speak here from anything to the actual conflict prevention work that the EU does, development aid, all the way up to trade policy. At the moment, I think there is a weakness in the R2P lens that we use for these policies, and I think that will be, in some sense, the way that the EU will now have to move forward. It's made its commitment to the principle. As we heard yesterday in the General Assembly, it's still very committed, and it's also now committed to operationalising it. So there now has to be the meeting of words and deeds, I would say.
Right, of course. Well, Daniel, thank you very much for your time. Great analysis on the role of R2P within the EU framework. All the best moving forward. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you.